welcome Rotarian Subu. Yeah, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Yeah. It's a pleasure to introduce Rotarian Subu once more and welcome him to Madras South. The Rotary theme for this year is Serve to Change Lives. Now, it is a thoughtful theme coined by Rotary International President Shekhar Mehta. He says, service is the rent I pay for the space I occupy on this earth. And I want to be a good tenant of this earth.
3428.
To explain and elucidate this theme and to discuss how best to give life to this theme, we have a speaker, Rotarian Subu. His presentations are known for wit, brevity, and flair. He has been explaining and interpreting the Rotary theme at Madras South every year for the past several years. A chemical engineer, Rotarian Subu has some 40 years of professional experience. He is the managing director of Pesco Beam Environmental Solutions Private Limited, a company that carries out design and manufacturing operations in both India and the US. He has been a member of the Rotary Club of Madras West since 1988. He has assisted several governors with their training programs. He is a major donor to the Rotary Foundation. He became district governor in 2008-2009. A few of his initiatives in Rotary have been adopted by Rotary International. For example, he called for a drive back to basics, something that has been part of RI's strategy for several years now. Rotarian Subu is an avid reader and he enjoys swimming, music, sketching, and painting. He believes that enthusiasm is the key to success, something I share with him, whether it's personal, professional, or Rotary. It is also essential, enthusiasm is not essential, a service to change lives. Over to Rotarian Subu for a stimulating presentation on the Rotary theme.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rotarian Madhu. I cannot explain it in words, how much I appreciate and I'm delighted to be here at RCM South year on year at the start of the Rotary year. For me, that is one very big stimulation that I get. So I know that I am I stepped into very large shoes of a great speaker who was doing this for many years. And before I make this speech, year on year, I do remember past District Governor C.S. Ramachandran, who used to do this before I started doing it. And I am thankful to you for seeing it fit that I can come and talk about the RI theme year on year. So President Ranjit Joseph, Secretary Jyoti Lakshmi, past District Governor, good friend of mine with whom we have shared a lot of things, past District Governor Nagoji, my fellow President during 1999-2000, Shamala, Madhu, who makes sure that he gives me enough notice year on year for coming here, all my very good friends of RCM South. Good evening to all of you, and thank you once again for having me here. Before I actually get into this so-called explanation, let's start with something very interesting. Can I ask Secretary Jyoti Lakshmi to play a less than 60-second video for all of us to see? And then I will take it on from there.
Yes, he held all four at once. Certainly got his eyes on the Olympic title as well this year.
30 love.
Let's see if he's going to compete. I think a lot depends on the outcome of this tournament and the restrictions for all athletes going to Tokyo.
40 love.
He's just hammering that center line. Three set points. And again, metronomic.
There you are.
How long was that game?
Less than a minute.
I'm sure all of you saw this. It was kind of a little jerky. It was Djokovic and it's Wimbledon time, strawberries and cream. But what Djokovic was doing, what was he doing? He finished a set and worked towards his win by serving. It was a service which actually took him 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all. It was 15 love, 30 love, love all, 15 love, 30 love, 40 love, set. Serve. I have a very strong feeling our world president, Shekhar Mehta, when he was actually thinking about his team, he was watching one of these matches where the player was serving away to victory. So he said, okay, service, that is the key to success. So if you want to remember the theme, then all you have to remember is a good game of tennis where you win if you have a good serve. Friends, jokes aside, the humorous part of it aside, serve to change lives is actually as straight a theme as you can get. There is nothing hidden in the theme. It is completely open. He has very clearly said, guys, get out there, serve, and change lives. So the immediate reaction of Rotarians is going to be that, okay, yes, we have done a lot of service and we have touched a whole lot of lives, and therefore we are going to change a whole lot of lives. But then if you had listened to anything that Shekhar said in many of his speeches, including his most favorite quote, which Madhu said, the service is the rent that I pay for the space that I occupy on this earth, is a sentence that he uses every time he speaks. And service is the byword. Service is the word by which he has done everything up till now, till he has risen to the level of RI president. And the word service in his theme is not a surprise to anybody who knows him. I'm sure Nagoji will agree that it's not a surprise at all that he used the word service. But please understand, he used the verb. He said serve. He did not say service. He said serve. He asked all of us to go ahead and serve, and change lives is another important aspect of Rotary, simply because it's not just lives of others that we change. Let's take a look at ourselves. Let's take a look at our own lives. Every time we have gone out and served, every time we have done something, we have found that our lives have been changed. Rotary has completely changed. I mean, I was a totally different person before I joined Rotary. And every year in Rotary, every interaction in Rotary, every time we did something in Rotary, it impacted me more than it impacted the person who received it. And if we all seriously look inward, we will realize that every time we have done something good, it's actually we who have felt better. It is we who have felt that our lives are more meaningful. It is we who have said that what I did gives me greater satisfaction than even the recipient. The recipient gets it. Yes, of course, it's always nice to see a smile on somebody. It's always nice to do something good to somebody. But then Many times we forget that every time we do something like that, our lives are changing. And I believe Shekhar Mehta gave this theme to Rotarians, primarily for Rotarians to understand that serve to change lives, and within bracket, your lives. Why should it be? Why do I think it is so? Friends, I think Rotary is at a tremendous, I would say, flux at this point in time. Nagoji will agree with me. We are listening to all kinds of things that are happening at the higher levels in Rotary. And here we have a president who I would say is caught between the devil and the deep blue sea, as far as I'm concerned. Here he is. He knows the service, the impact of service, the largeness of the projects, the kind of things that he himself has done, the kind of details man that he is, the kind of leadership that he has given for the big literary push, the amount of impact that he has had on projects, even at the government of India level, all those things are there, and that is service. And left to ourselves, we would have continued to do what we are doing. But what I understand, and I stand corrected, or I stand to be corrected, but what I understand is right now Rotary is re-examining itself. Rotary is re-examining where exactly it should position itself. We have all known that, yes, all of us clubs started, in the 60s. We all know that fellowship is the bedrock of Rotary, and then service is the byproduct of Rotary. And then we have also seen the way Rotary has changed, and the kind of changes that has happened in India is just amazing. Whether it is good or not, time alone will say, but change it has. It has changed to such an extent that sometimes senior Rotarians or Rotarians like us, we are unable to recognize the Rotary that we see. Nagaji, agree or not agree? We are not able to recognize the Rotary that we see, but it is changing. Right now, we are having a virtual meeting, unthinkable. But then this change was perpetuated by something that we had no control over. But we also have to understand that there are certain things that are happening. Today, the strategic plan, which was started off a few years ago, there is a tremendous change to the strategic plan. If you ask people, what does Rotary do? We will say, okay, we are basically a group of professionals. We are a group of individuals, international people. We go about doing good in this world. We serve and we do good in this world. Now Rotary is saying, that's all very well, my friends, but we are a member-centric organization. This is a change that is happening, and this we have heard from the current directors and the future directors, that we need to first take care of our own membership, which is why, while the theme talks about serve to change lives, the direction or the target of the theme is, you will find every time Shekhar Mehta speaks, he will talk about membership development. He will say increase members. And you all know that the new slogan, Ranjit, is each one bring one. This is each one bring one. For senior Rotarians, we know that way back in the 90s, each one bring one was a theme. I forget the name of the president who coined it, but right now, each one bring one is being absolutely pushed. And the membership, Shekhar is keen that the membership should move to 1.3 million, because it is stuck in that magic figure of 1.2, 1.21, 1.22 million for God knows how many years. Every time we have started, maybe way back in the 90s, up till now, we are still talking about 1.2 million Rotarians, and it has not changed. So he is giving a great push to membership, and his thought process, as I can see, is this: asking somebody to join is one way of increasing membership. Demonstrating what Rotary can do and making someone interested in joining the organization is another way and a better way of doing. What better way to attract new members than do service projects which are impactful? If you are going to do service projects, if you are going to ensure that the public image of Rotary is good, then automatically people would be interested in joining. I remember those days, way back in the 80s, if somebody wanted to join Rotary, you had to wait because there was a process. Getting into Rotary was difficult, which made Rotary a very prestigious organization. And therefore, when you got into Rotary and you were called a Rotarian, you valued it. And then you did everything that you wanted, you could, to make sure that you made an impact and you participated in Rotary. Things have changed a lot. Today, membership for the sake of number, I call it numbership. Numbership has, in fact, what has happened is the prestige of Rotary has gone down. I would like to ask all of you, and I would like to ask myself, how many of us currently, unless and until we feel proud of our own club, we feel proud of what is happening in our club in terms of the projects that we do, in terms of the programs that we do, how will we bring someone else into Rotary? And therefore, I believe, straightforward as it may seem, serve to change lives is actually a theme which addresses a very key area of Rotary, which is membership development. Membership development will happen the moment people start seeing what kind of impact Rotary is having on the various areas of our own interest in terms of service, beautifully defined and very nicely organized. And if clubs, like we are doing great job, but then are we showcasing it enough? Are we making sure that the people who need to see it are seeing it? See, what is the point in having a project where the president, the secretary, the project director, and probably one more person goes to the project and then it's inaugurated, you put a few pictures out and then it is seen in the website or the net, and nobody who needs to see it actually sees it. Whereas I believe if there is going to be one champion for public image in a club, and the only thing that the champion will think is, how do I showcase every single activity? Your club has got a beautiful thing. You got your buddies night. So straight away, the fellowship and the wonderful times that a person will have is very clearly seen for a person who wants to join the club or who's being invited to join the club. But then I would say 80% of the people are triggered by the motive to serve. And the motive to serve is seen only when a good project is being done. And that it has to be showcased. And he has very clearly taken the key, which is membership development, and then connected it up with service. And he has said, impactful. Be impactful in your service. Let your projects be bigger and bolder. Let it touch more lives. Let it make sure that it affects your own persona when it comes to doing a project. Friends, that is his passion. He has used his passion to trigger what needs to be done in Rotary, which is increase in membership. And he has also coined a very nice word for that, each one bring one, so that the membership can increase. Bringing members in India is, it's not such a big deal. India has always grown in membership. India has taken care of the dearth of membership in other places. This is more for the other parts of the world where you have to have something, you go by a slogan, and I'm sure it will be possible for membership increase to happen using the platform of service. Friends, what I also hear is that at this point in time, there is this high stress from Rotary for inclusivity, for diversity. And yesterday, I heard from the Director Venki, that 9 out of the 19 directors on the board of Rotary International in Chicago, 9 of them are ladies, are women. So the need for including women, need for having women in Rotary is being stressed. And I believe it's an excellent, stress to have. You need to have that diversity. And I remember and I recall past district governor Raja Ramakrishnan here, when everybody was forgetting, classification, what a classic thing that we all had, classification. Raja Ramakrishna Raja will always talk about classification. He will say that, I don't know why Rotary is forgetting about classification. And classification is a very, very important thing. Now, if we had only stuck to our seriousness for classification, if Rotary clubs which are starting now today knew, I'm sorry to say this, knew about what is called as a classification roster, which some of us have, and use the classification roster to start looking for members from diverse fields, there would be no need for Rotary to stress on diversity. Diversity would have happened. I'm sure Nagoji will agree. We have gone to so many clubs as governors. We have looked at so many records, but then I can straight away tell you almost 80% of the clubs don't know about a classification roster. If they know about it, they don't know how to use it, or they don't know how to make it. The classification roster, my friends, is coming back. The classification roster will be a useful tool for diversity. And therefore, not only gender diversity, but also diversity. And things have changed. Look at the different fields that we have got. Those days we had probably 3, 4. You had a doctor, a chartered accountant, an advocate, and probably some other professional. Today, you have got people who are professionals in all kinds of fields. I would say thousands of fields where we have got people and who will be able to contribute to the growth, not just of a club, but also of Rotary in general, making sure that it will do projects differently, look at requirements and look at the felt needs differently, and be able to formulate something that will touch lives and change lives. Friends, I would think that this is a very, very, a theme that is required for today. It is a theme which keeps the basic in mind, but looks at the future and makes sure that Rotary's future is in good hands. So I thank all of you for patiently listening to me. I do not know whether I took all my 20 or more than 20 minutes, but it is a theme which I have identified, and I felt that RI President Shekhar Mehta has thought very deeply and then come out with something which is very simple, but which will address every aspect of Rotary and make sure that Rotary grows stronger every day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Subu. As usual, you have been very clear. A simple subject, you were able to tell us the story behind it. So now the floor is open for questions.
Or discussions, or any discussion.
Discussions. Discussions. When I mean questions, is discussions. Please go ahead. Any queries?
We have a guest here today with us.
Yeah.
Jayashree Singh. This is her second meeting with us.
Yes. Welcome, Jayashree. I just welcome her earlier.
Yeah, thank you very much. I hope what you heard wasn't too heavy or too light or too trivial.
I think it's very necessary at this point of time.
You were talking about what is happening and why most of us a lot of us are not very happy about what is happening. And you spoke about membership. I agree with you. It is very important. But in a club like yours, West and South, we are very particular. Even now, we go through the process. It is not like morning saying that governor says that's not it does not happen. But it has happened. You and me, we know as governors
Oh
how
yeah.
it happened. How people were brought in like a mass way and they go out. I think we should still have that, that the pride that we had as a Rotarian, the membership, the faith. That is slowly diluting because we are having, but that is a reflection of the society today. Everywhere such things are happening.
Perfect. Perfect.
But still, we have to be careful if we have to keep our standards high.
Yeah, I mean, see, I completely agree with you, Nagoji, because there are people who have come, who speak to me saying that, very typical. In Rotary has literally, things have gone so bad, etc., etc. Now, the fact of the matter is, I always say, in the 80s, if you went into a good restaurant and sat down, and then you looked at the gentry around you, you saw a particular type of gentry. Now, today, go to the same five-star restaurant, look around, you will see another type of gentry. And that is society. And they are the people who are members of Rotary. So, where else will you draw your membership? You have to draw your membership from the community. The community is what it is. But I still believe what is happening is that when Rotary clubs if they do not attach a premium to their membership, then what happens is that the member thinks that he is doing a favor to Rotary, he or she is doing a favor to Rotary by joining Rotary. And when it need not be that way, it is just an even keel, because the member is as important to the club as the club is important to the member. And that is the kind of equation that needs to be established. And that's where we all come from. We have enjoyed the club has enjoyed our presence, and we have contributed, and that's the way it has been. Whereas I think that's skewed a little bit in some of the newer clubs where, one of the things which I'm a little concerned about is you just go and then somebody goes to a gated community and then picks up all the residents there and says, I'm going to form a Rotary club here. And so what is the project in the gated community? We don't have one.
Clean up the place.
Good Shakadai boss. We want to make one. That's really my first project for the club. You can't do that. I mean, there is a certain way of doing it. Shankar Menon is a champion for membership.
Yeah, Shankar Menon, I can see. Hey, welcome, Shankar Menon.
Taking a cue from that, today, every second or third member in Menambakam is proposed by Shankar Menon.
See, there you are.
And like you said, they seldom talk about classifications. So do you agree that even about the lapel pin, they have stopped talking? Because those days we used to say, wear your lapel pin with pride. And nobody seems to be talking about it these days. I noticed it. I don't know if I'm wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Shankar, what you're saying is true. Like Subu said, we have to keep also at a premium. I name the club. Look at Rotary Club of East. It has got the highest subscription. It insists that every member should, when they come in, should become Paul Harris. They have waiting list. They already have 130 members. They got a waiting list. So don't say that, if we brand ourselves as a premium organization, and if we give value, if we give value for money, we will get.
That's one. The other thing is that I have to talk about my own club here. Try as we have over these years, we have not been able to have even one single lady member in our club. We are an absolute male chauvinistic club kind of situation. It's sad. It's very sad. Yes,
you're not one of the reasons, Subbu.
No. You see, despite the fact that we have got nice balding old men with beard in the club, there are no ladies who are willing to join the club, or if they join, they hardly stay. See, the reason we have not found, we bring one, it's not that we have not tried. We have had 2 or 3 members. They have come in, then they have left as fast as they came in. So you can't have one person. You need to have a few women. They should start feeling part of the club. One single lady can sometimes feel totally isolated in an atmosphere of just like how we can feel totally isolated in a group of only women. this only women club, only men club, that has to change. And I think Rotary is going to come down pretty heavily on that. We have tried, and we are going to put an emphasis this year to try and get as many women members as possible. And, but it's, I think as far as our club goes, it's a kind of a jinx. Now, Shankar, see, the point is that you can get people. You will be able to get members. See, how long will it take for a guy who's really serious to go into the Skoda showroom or go into the Mercedes-Benz showroom, take a look at all the prospective guys or people who have bought those cars, and then take that list, go sit with them, and then talk to them about Rotary, make them feel very good, and then bring them in. But then that's not the way we are going to bring members. We are going to bring members by at least 20% of they should feel that, yes, here is a good group of people. It would be nice for us to be here, and I will enjoy it. My family will enjoy it. There's a lot of good work that is being done. And that is where I think this theme makes a difference. This theme is making a difference because it is talking about public image. See, the public image in the right quarters of Rotary. And we don't think of, see, we confuse PR with PI. We think public relations is what we need to do. But whereas public image is what is important. How long would it take for the district to hire, a nice location in the airport lounge to put up some of the stuff that we are doing for the travelers who are air travelers who would be able to see? Because what happens is there is an image. There was a time when Rotary News was there in the seat pocket of every aircraft. At least I think we had Indigo. Indigo carried it, but that has stopped. But if we use our influence, we will be in a position to put the Rotary News. They will flip through it. It may be there at the back of the mind, but then the moment they get a chance, and if there is an invitation, joining a Rotary Club would be something which would be, it would be a two-way traffic. Instead of somebody trying to, please come and join Rotary Club. We have 8 dinners, then we have 7 fellowships. That's not the way to sell Rotary. But sometimes that's the way Rotary is sold. That's where the problem is. So this theme, I think, would put an end to that and showcase Rotary in its correct perspective, is what I feel.
Thank you, Subu.
Subu, I have a question.
Sure,
what do you think is the ideal size of a Rotary in terms of numbers? Like you have Madras club with maybe 200 and odd members, while you have clubs with 15 members. So if you have a club with 15 members, you don't have any succession plan there. The same president, because I've seen same president is president. And if you have a club with 200 and odd members, I don't think they will have any kind of a bonding or a relationship. I mean, this is my outlook. So what do you think about that? What's the ideal size of a club?
If I have to give you a short answer, Ranjit, I would think that you need to start a club with at least about 45 people,
right,
and have a plan of a net 10% growth each year. So grow net 10% each year, which means about 5 each year. And the moment you reach somewhere in the 80s, before you become the Kauravas, before you reach 100, I would think that you should spin it off and form a new club.
Exactly. I also feel so. Yeah.
Before the club members spin themselves off, you spin off the club, pick a set of young people, bring them in, groom them in your club, and say, hey guys, you guys go form. It is very simple, like a family. At one point in time, once the children are married, the best is for them to stay close enough, but far enough, instead of staying right inside. That kind of a thing.
So all the oldies will remain and all the youngsters will go away.
Yeah.
No, that cannot happen. We want to keep young people. Okay.
Keep the youngsters. But then there will be some youngsters who may want to probably form a new club. Allow them to do that. It's part of your club. But then at the same time, you allow that to happen. I would think. Otherwise, what will happen is, as Ranjit says, the moment you become 100 plus, and over a period of time, you start there is, we know how it's happening now, come on, whether it's going to be East or whether it's going to be Madras club. Once the club becomes very large in size, I know there's a club in Vijayawada. You know how many members they've got? Some 800 and something. I don't think all of them, 800 of them know each other, and I don't think 800 of them have ever attended a meeting. And we can't. I mean, there has got to be diversity. There has got to be a succession plan, but there also has to be a certain amount of coziness in a club.
100%.
If you miss that, then it's a problem. You agree?
Yes.
Number I recommend is always 75. Beyond 75, it
yeah.
becomes.
Rajan, correct. 75 is a very optimum number. You can have enough committees. You can have new people coming into the board. You will be able to get more people. A project will have at least about 10 or 15.
75 to 80 is the optimum.
Yeah.
For a good
Ideal number.
Yeah, a meeting will have about 25 to 30 people. So the speaker is also quite happy. You can afford to bring, Madhu can afford to bring any big speaker because he knows 30, 40 people will be there. Otherwise, every time he gets to speaker, he is worried. Are we going to have the number of people or are we going to be short of the audience?
I have also believed in very carefully examining the prospective member before we admit the person.
Correct. Agreed.
See, very often people bring somebody and say he's a prospective member. Never do that. See, let the person come in, let him like the club like him, then you propose him.
True.
See, that way the bonding slowly develops.
He can only be a guest.
Correct.
See, this process is there, Rajan. Unfortunately, what has happened is that people have given a go by to some of the good practices that have always been in Rotary. This thing of, for instance, I know Jayashree Singh is visiting the club, gets a chance to see the club gets a chance to meet her, and the idea is it's a two-way evaluation. It's not just a one-way evaluation. Absolutely. It's a two-way evaluation, and you feel, okay, I'm comfortable in this atmosphere. I'm comfortable with this person, and that's the way it goes.
Srikanth has raised his hand.
Yeah. Venkatesh.
Sorry, this is Srikanth Subu and
Srikanth. Hi, Srikanth.
Hi. One of the things I was thinking as we thought about increasing membership and the last 15 months, we have met physically sometimes, but most times online. Is Rotary considering anything to enhance? How do we connect with new members? Like last year, we inducted some members, but I don't know them because we didn't really meet them physically. Is Rotary developing some tools that can facilitate online type of induction? How do they interact? Otherwise you meet personally, right? Even pinning and getting to Rotary is a big deal, right? You meet the person, so you know him by flesh. But is Rotary thinking about all these things in terms of as they try to increase the membership? Is there any thought process around how do you make, like for my company, we induct 1,000 people now online, but we have made significant differences in the way we do it rather than a physical induction, right? So there is a lot of things that we do online. So I don't see anything happening on that front. Is there anything happening on that front?
Oh, I mean, Srikanth, let me tell you this. Rotary is probably one of the organizations which has adapted to change phenomenally well. Today, for instance, Rotary Club of Madras South can decide that you will be a hybrid club, meaning that 50% of your meetings will be online. Only 50% of your meetings will be physical. Rotary welcomes such a change. Rotary has e-clubs, so you don't even have to meet. There are only people from all over the world in one club. Such a thing is also happening, and it has been happening for many, many years now. It is just that the classic club adapting to such changes has been slow, whereas these changes have already happened and they are already very much on, it's online, it's going on. And you can have a complete e-club, 100% e-club, where you probably, there is no mandate that you need to meet. Your own club can be part. I mean, you can have 2 meetings or 3 meetings. Who wants to travel to the music academy week at 7 o'clock, boss? That's not possible. Let's do 2 meetings. I have 2 meetings virtually. 1 family meeting we will definitely do physically. Maybe there will be 1 project meeting which will be physical. You can do that. I'm proposing that to my club, because in any event, only 10 fellows turn up. Well, there is no point. Whereas if it is virtual, at least you've got more people. They just have to walk up to their drawing room and then start the computer. So it gives a chance for us, for you to get speakers from all over the world. Today, there, I mean, you could have had somebody from the United States of America interpreting Shekhar Mehta's theme. It's possible. It's only a question of whether that person is available to do that, and we can do that. And I'm sure you have Madhu has already done that last year, getting people from all over the world. So the answer to your question, whatever you said, is already happening. How do we make it happen in the classic club is up to the club themselves. And if not, if you let us assume, say you said 1,000 people you recruited in your company. Let's assume there are about 50 people who you believe subscribe to what Rotary does and believe the Rotary ideals and things like that. You can form a new club, which is only going to be a club which is going to meet virtually, youngsters, and they can decide what they want to do. Today, you don't have to meet in the same place as we had to those days. Remember, we had to say, our club will meet on Tuesday at Savera at 7 o'clock. This has to be printed. Today, you don't have to do that. You can decide where you want to meet. Previously, I mean, I remember, I'm sure it has happened in your club also. In the board meeting, there will be a halagula when the venue is changed and it has not been recorded in the board meeting and it has not been approved by the board. You changed the board. I came there. There was no meeting, you know. All those things gone. Rotary has changed. Rotary has said, today we are interested in making the member comfortable. It is a member organization. That's what it is.
Thank you, PDG Subu. Thank you.
I think Shamla has a question. Shamla, please.
Yeah, Subu, no, you were mentioning about the classifications earlier. You know, like in our club, we have a number of chartered accountants.
Right.
There is a club which is completely, all the members are all IT, you know, professionals. So again, the under classification, there will be some division of these professionals. Earlier, it used to be very strict. No, now do they have that? Because he said you're bringing the classification back.
No, I mean, I said the principle is coming back. Okay, I don't think Rotary is bringing classification. Rotary is bringing classification back through the slogan of diversity. See, it is not saying classification as classification within inverted commas. It is saying diversity. And yes, I mean, today we have an eye specialist. First we had a doctor, then we had an eye specialist, then we had eye specialist who was a specialist in cornea, then we had an eye specialist who was a specialist in the left eye, the right eye, you know, all kinds of specializations.
Doctors, there are plenty of
even lawyers, criminal lawyer, lawyer.
Yes. Chartered accountants, also tax specialists and corporate lawyers. Yes. Yeah, I mean, that is the change that has happened now.
I had a friend of mine who just finished law long back, and I asked him, what is your specialization? Those days he used to say, I'm a Tengamudi lawyer, boss. People only give me 2 Tengamudis when I finish my work. So he was just about starting like that. So when you're talking about specializations, you've got all kinds of specializations available. But let me also tell you something, Shamla. One particular type of industry people in a Rotary club is usually something that does not work well for a club. I have seen a club which had people only from the construction industry. It was formed by an architect. He had people who supplied pipes to him, supplied steel to him, supplied cement to him, supplied bricks to him.
Thanks.
That club did great for 1.5 to 2 years. And then it kind of it broke into splinters. I know Nagoji knows which club I'm talking about, but then that is there. So that is where diversity comes in. See, yes. I would love to talk to a shipping professional when I go to a club meeting. I would like to talk to somebody who is a fashion designer. When it comes to a club, when I go to a club meeting, I would like to talk to somebody who is probably running beauty clinics all over the city, when I go to a meeting, I don't want to talk to another chemical engineer about reaction engineering. Forget it. I'm sick and tired of it, and I want to change. That's what it is. Venkatesh, you had something to
More
ask.
exciting, correct.
Yeah.
It's more exciting and different. I mean, so many different professions coming together is always
No, Shamla, that is how Paul Harris thought. His concept was 4 different people who came together. We should have different people. Okay, that was he started.
Yeah.
Thank you, Subu. I think Sandy has got a question. Sandy?
Last question.
Not necessary.
This question is not in a hurry.
I'm not in a hurry.
Well, thank you, PDG Subu, for taking the time for this talk. So I had this question about this getting new members, right? And like you said, it's a question of talking to, I've been a member in South for the last 20 plus years.
Wow.
And I've gone through various cycles of talking to my friends and asking them to come and join the club. And I've had the classic sales problem, right? Features versus benefits.
Okay.
Going and talking about, it's a club that meets once a week. We have one family participation. We have a couple of family participations. You have members of all kinds of all hues and colors. These are all features, right? No, in my last 20 years, despite many conversations with many senior members, we've not had a structured understanding, or we is the wrong word. I have not had a structured understanding of what the benefits of Rotary are. Now, let me not miscommunicate. I know what the benefits are, and there are certain benefits that I take away from being a part of Rotary, and I appreciate it, which is why, much to many of the senior members' chagrin, I'm not even as I'm not such a regular visitor to the club, I still believe in in South Club. I'm a very big fan of South Club. Least of it is not, yes, President, absolutely. I love the club. I'm very dedicated to the club. I in part also the inspiring role model that Ramakrishna Uncle was, is a good friend of my father's. So there were a lot of things that made me kind of relate to the club. So I know what my benefits are, but they're not necessarily the benefits that everybody else would take away, right? Sometimes it's personal, sometimes it's generic. So is there a structured understanding of what are the benefits of Rotary, which we can communicate to members? Because this whole concept of, so many meetings, so many different members, social service, all of these things are features. For one, it makes it indistinguishable from any other club.
Right.
What is the difference between a Rotary Club of Madras South and an East Club or a Madras or any other club? If you're only going to talk features, because the features are the same across all Rotary clubs. So is there something like that? And, maybe a better understanding or a wider understanding of that could help with membership. What are your thoughts?
Sandy is what you were called. So let me also take the liberty of calling you Sandy. Sandy, the fundamental is first, a Rotary club is not a place. Rotary club is not somewhere you go and visit, do something, enjoy, and come back. Rotary is an experience. Unless and until we communicate that to a prospective member, unless we tell the person that a Rotary club, whether it is South or East or West or whatever, is an experience. The reason why I would like you to come and take part in my buddies night or family participation is for you to come and generally meet the people and then start soaking in that experience just a little bit. Now, what happens, one sentence sales pitch for me is Rotary adds value to life, your life. How does it add value to life? It's by the experience. Like after so many years in Rotary, every single person with whom I'm interacting professionally and personally is a Rotarian. Why do I do that? Because I find that that person has got a class, the due diligence on that person has already been done by the Rotary Club before they inducted him as a member, her as a member. And therefore, for me to interact, say professionally with a Rotarian, gives me straight away the comfort that he is a Rotarian. Now, that is an experience that you will get only when you actually come in and start doing things. One. Two, as far as Rotary goes, you put in 1 unit, you get out 10 units, but you never know how it happens. It happens. I'm not talking about money. I'm simply talking about the experience with people. The third thing that Rotary does, which probably no other organization does, is teach you certain management skills, which without your own knowledge, you pick it up. And it is not taught because the only way to lead in Rotary is by inspiration. And that is the highest order of leadership. In Rotary, unless you inspire somebody, you can't expect that person to even lift a little finger. Now, that's not the way it happens in the professional world. And while you're in Rotary, even if you're a committee chair, forget about beginning the president, even if you're a committee chair, what happens is that your 3 committee members, if they have to go along with you, you have to walk along with them, you have to inspire them, and that changes the way you start approaching various things in your professional life and in your personal life. Last most important thing, which I believe is very important, it's a fantastic forum. You can't get a better forum than Rotary to hone your skills or develop new skills. No other place can you sing and still get appreciated. Everywhere else, they'll say, boss, you shut up. Okay. Now, why am I in Rotary? It is simply because I have got peers who, let's say, for instance, at the end of this meeting, somebody tells, hey, Subu, that was nice, man. You spoke very well. Now, that is an elixir of life. All of us are leaders. We are leading our own companies. We are heads of our own families. We are patting everybody on the back to get them to work. Who the hell will pat our back, boss? We also are human beings. No, we are not Swamijis and Sadhus. Somebody has given Swamijis and Sadhus, you have to pat their back. Unless somebody gives you that elixir, gives you that little appreciation, saying that you did well, it was very nice listening to you, or that project that you did, or whatever, maybe 2 sentences, 3 sentences, helps you go through a few more weeks in enthusiasm in life. That is what Rotary does. Other organizations don't do that because Rotary, a club like South, is a club that has done its due diligence before it has taken its member. And so when a fellow member comes and says, the member means it, and it means a lot to the individual. This is what I believe Rotary is, and adding value to life, your life, is really what I would say as the sales pitch. After that, Rotary is an experience. You have to get into Rotary and start participating to enjoy Rotary. That's what it is.
I can't agree with you more. PDG Subu.
Thank you, Sunny. Thanks a lot.
I think the only closing comment is, is there a way in which we can make this some kind of a structured messaging to our own members so that they can message to their prospects better?
Sure.
Right? I think is the
you got enough and more people in your own club who can take this message across, even better than what I have said. In ways and means by which it will appeal to individual groups of people who are coming in. Like Nagoji is a kind of person who will say, boss, you come to South and then basically you will really have a whale of a time. And he will tell you why you will have a whale of time. That's what it is. I mean, he has said that in all the club. So our senior members, everybody is here. So you can use all of them. Everybody will be able to say it. Very fantastic. I mean, it's you got a fabulous team. You should do that in a family participation meeting. Maybe 1 or 2 aspects of it can be either demonstrated or can be talked about and make people realize about it. That's what it is.
Great. Thank you.
We have past President Magdoum. He has a question. Magdoum, please come in.
Yeah.
You're going to make a difference, Magdoum.
PDG Subu, I think it was a nice talk. I mean, I could only listen to half of it, but I'll watch it recording later. I mean, I want you to do a prophecy. In fact, on the RI presidentship. If I see that, I mean, the first president to the second president, it took about, I think, 30 years, and then the second one was 20, and then now we have on a 10th year we have another president, fourth president. So the amount of years in between is like shrinking. So can we expect another Indian president, RI president in the next 5 years?
If I, Magdoom, jokingly, I hope you switch off this recording, because I'm going to say certain things which are dangerous. But anyway, let me tell you.